We stand resolved that the United States federal government should not take down DACA because it is cruel and could cripple the U.S. economy. Our first argument, ending DACA will ruin the opportunity for hardworking young immigrants who are forced to the U.S. by their parents. This is by the Times editorial board, made by the Los Angeles Times, September 5th, 2017. But on Tuesday morning, he made the decision he so often does, the wrong one. In a brief statement, Trump killed the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, an act of pure cruelty that threatens the well-being of nearly 800,000 people who lived in the country illegally through no fault of their own, but as a result of the decisions made by their parents. This is significant because it shows why President Trump shouldn't punish 800,000 people because of their parents' mistakes, and it is cruel for hardworking immigrants by removing DACA and who want to succeed in this country. Our second argument, repealing DACA would discourage dreamers to be productive in our society and in turn can cause huge financial losses. This is by Tracy Jan, a reporter for the Washington Post, and she is interviewing David J. Beyer, an analyst on immigration policy for the Cato Institute Center of Global Liberty and Prosperity. This is the Washington Post, September 4th, 2017. And he says, receding DACA would have long-term economic consequences, Beyer said, because taking away work authorizations would discourage young immigrants from seeking higher education that would lead to decreased salaries, he said, which means the amount they pay in taxes will also go down. The U.S. estimates that DACA recipients in the workforce would affect the economy by losing $460.3 billion of national gross domestic product and $24.6 billion in Social Security and Medicare tax contributions. Getting rid of DACA will not only affect the 800,000 productive workers in our society, but also cause losses in GDP, as well as a multitude of contributions multitude of tax contributions that will slow the economy for a long time. Our third argument, removing DACA will put dreamers' lives in despair. This is by the New York Post's editorial team, written by NewYorkPost.com, August 31st, 2017. DACA is under threat, and we know that President Trump, the Attorney General, if he is still in office, will not lift a finger to defend DACA. Gutierrez said that back in July, this will place the order in the lives of these young people with chaos. It would place the hope that they have for their futures with despair. It substitutes cruelty for their aspirations and the aspirations of our entire immigrant population. All of us here support DACA. We fought for DACA, and we will defend DACA. And this defense includes putting on the table legislation that charts the way forward. All of that will change if Trump ends DACA. Those who lose their work permits will be forced illegally to leave, or be forced to work illegally, or leave the workforce altogether. Businesses will have to spend an estimated $6.3 billion in turnover costs, and the government forces them to fire these employees, which will shrink the size of the economy and eliminating some jobs. And I now stand for cross-examination.
Hey Parker, where in your first argument evidence does it specifically states that removing DACA will ruin the opportunity for these immigrants?
It does not.
And what ruin the opportunity? What will it ruin the opportunity for?
It would ruin their opportunity to get jobs in America and try and succeed.
What is the difference between your second argument and your third argument?
Well, our second argument discusses the financial losses long term by nationally, and third argument discusses what would happen to employment and it being cruel.
Do you have a solvency claim or evidence?
We do not.
That we
Okay, thank you.